The city shimmered under the warm glow of street lights as dusk gave way to night. Cars rushed by, leaving streaks of neon and light that sliced through the quiet air. A city alive with motion. The sudden blur of color painted the streets in hues of pink and gold, as if time itself was racing forward. Amidst this rush, something urgent was unfolding. Inside a sleek, dark car gliding through the city, a man sat in the back seat. His sharp eyes reflected the lights flashing outside, but his face remained calm and unreadable. He pressed his phone to his ear, listening intently, only to hear a mechanical voice say, "The number you just called cannot be reached." His expression hardened. The silence that followed carried the weight of unease, his thoughts already racing faster than the car he sat in. Elsewhere, a phone screen lit up in the darkness. The name Ying Ka flashed across the display. Calling. A pair of trembling hands gripped the device tightly as the words "hold tight" echoed in the air. A warning, a plea, or perhaps a promise. The tension was rising, and every second of ringing felt like an eternity. Determination replaced calm as the man gave a sharp command. His violet eyes glinted with urgency, cutting through the dim interior of the car. "Go to Zichen's mansion," he ordered. The driver needed no further explanation. The situation was serious. The car accelerated, its headlights slicing through the night, the cityscape rushing by in streaks of color. The night sky stretched endlessly above, vast and silent, dotted with faint stars that shimmered like distant hopes. In that quiet expanse, the urgency of moments before seemed to dissolve, a brief, haunting calm before whatever fate was about to unfold. Under the soft glow of moonlight, a young woman lay motionless on a bed. Her long hair cascaded like silk across the pillow, gleaming faintly in shades of rose and gold. Her face was pale, her lips barely parted, as though she were trapped in a fragile dream. The jewel around her neck shimmered, a deep, haunting blue, pulsing faintly with light, as if echoing the rhythm of her slowing heartbeat. A whisper stirred the silence. "Who?" The voice was faint, uncertain, a mere thought flickering in the void between consciousness and darkness. Her lashes trembled, but her body refused to move. It was as if her soul was struggling to rise from the depths of a heavy sleep. Somewhere nearby, unfamiliar voices broke through the haze. "Young master, you really want it like that?" one said, hesitation lacing the words. Another voice, colder and more commanding, replied, "So, I'll go get the camera. Shall we begin?" Their tones were filled with the sense of cruelty and arrogance, each word slicing through the still air like a knife. The woman's fingers twitched. Her thoughts were foggy, her body numb, yet her mind caught fragments of what was being said. "It's so itchy," she thought weakly. Begin what? A faint panic stirred in her chest, though her body still wouldn't obey her. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. Then came the words that froze her heart. "Just tear her skirt." The cruelty in that command was chilling, simple, emotionless, and absolute. The dim room seemed to close in around her as realization slowly dawned. She wasn't dreaming. She was in danger. A sudden surge of awareness rushed through her veins. Her eyes snapped open, glowing with defiance. In an instant, fear was replaced by instinct, survival. "Don't touch me!" she cried out, her voice trembling but fierce. With all her strength, she thrust her arms forward, shoving the approaching figure away. Her heart pounded wildly as adrenaline took over, the air crackling with her desperation and will to fight. The room fell into stunned silence. "She woke up?" one of the men murmured in disbelief. The dimly lit room revealed several figures. Men standing around her, some half-dressed, their shadows cast long against the walls. The air was heavy with tension, the faint hum of the city outside sharply contrasting the uneasy stillness within. One of them stepped forward. The dim light from the lamp brushed across his bare chest, revealing a sculpted frame. Cold, intimidating. His presence loomed over her like a predator assessing its prey. The faint gleam in his eyes hinted at danger, and the sound of his slow, deliberate footsteps made her pulse race even faster. Another man shifted beside him, his shirt loosely hanging open, exposing the taut muscles beneath. The casualness of his stance only deepened her dread. They didn't seem startled by her awakening, almost as if they had been expecting it. The realization sent a chill crawling down her spine. Her breath trembled as she glanced around the room, confusion swirling in her violet eyes. Her mind was spinning, unable to piece together what had happened or why she was there. "What's this situation?" she whispered under her breath, her voice fragile and filled with disbelief. The jeweled pendant at her neck glimmered faintly, reflecting her turmoil, a silent witness to the terror and uncertainty consuming her heart. The dim light of the room flickered against the smooth walls as the man reclined leisurely in his chair. His expression was calm, too calm. He swirled the glass of red wine in his hand, watching her with predatory amusement. "If you woke up," he said, his lips curling into a cold smirk, "then that's even better. It'll make things far more stimulating." His words dripped with mockery, the kind that made her skin crawl. The low tone of his voice felt like venom, seeping into the air between them. Her heart clenched as understanding struck. So that's what this was all about. Her eyes widened with disbelief and rage as her mind pieced everything together. Just because he wanted me to leave Beiming Yi, he actually drugged me, made me faint, and brought me here. The thought made her tremble. And now, he even plans to record it. To use it against me? Her breath quickened, fury and humiliation burning inside her like wildfire. Her trembling fingers clenched the fabric of her dress. As she looked up defiantly, "Even if you bring that video to Beiming Yi, do you really think he'll believe I betrayed him?" The defiance in her tone was fragile but fierce, a spark of dignity that refused to die even when surrounded by danger. The man's smirk deepened, his sharp eyes glinting with cruelty. "Even if you didn't betray him," he said smoothly, almost tauntingly, "once your body has been touched by other men, do you really think he'd still want to stay by your side?" His words were laced with poison, designed to wound more deeply than any blade could. The wicked curve of his lips, that sinister smile, made her blood run cold. He raised the glass to his lips, taking a slow sip of wine. The deep red liquid caught the light, gleaming like spilled blood. That same chilling smile remained fixed on his face, elegant, composed, but filled with menace. He looked every bit the gentleman in his tailored suit, yet beneath that polished surface was a man who reveled in cruelty, savoring her helplessness as if it were his finest drink. Her thoughts spiraled in a rush of despair and clarity. "He doesn't believe me," she realized bitterly. "He truly thinks I chose to be with Beiming Yi." Her violet eyes shimmered with unshed tears, her chest tightening as anger mixed with helplessness. He'll stop at nothing to reach his goal, not even the most despicable means. The faint light cast across her face only made the determination in her eyes burn brighter, even through the fear that lingered in them. Across the room, the man tilted his head slightly, amusement dancing in his gaze. The cruel smirk never left his lips. "What are you all waiting for?" he said coldly, his tone casual, as if ordering something as simple as a drink. Action. That single word fell like a blade into the air, sharp and merciless. The others in the room tensed, their hesitation evaporating at the command. Before anyone could move closer, her eyes darted around desperately, searching for something, anything, to defend herself. Then she saw it, a small sculpture on the table nearby. Without hesitation, she reached out and snatched it up, her fingers trembling but fierce with resolve. The rush of air as her hand moved sliced through the tense silence, the sound of her will to survive. Gripping the cold sculpture tightly, she raised it in front of her, her arms tense and unsteady. Her heart pounded so violently it echoed in her ears. Her breath came in shallow bursts as she glared at them, defiance flaring in her eyes like a spark of light in the darkness. No matter how cornered she was, she refused to give in without a fight. Her voice quivered, but held a sharp edge as she steadied her stance, ready to defend herself against whatever came next. Her voice trembled, yet it echoed through the tense room like a sharp cry for help. "Do not come over here!" Her hands shook as she gripped the sculpture tightly against her chest, the cold metal digging into her palms. Every fiber of her being screamed with fear, but she forced herself to stand her ground. The air around her seemed to thicken, filled with both her defiance and the looming danger that surrounded her. Under the dim light of the room, she sat huddled on the edge of the bed, the small sculpture still clutched tightly in her hands. Her eyes darted from one man to another, each of them slowly stepping closer, their expressions unreadable in the shadows. Her pink hair fell over her shoulders, the soft hue stark against the dark, oppressive atmosphere. The faint shimmer of the gem around her neck caught the light, glowing faintly, a fragile symbol of hope amidst the encroaching dread. The men's heavy footsteps drew nearer, the sound making her heart pound faster. She instinctively pulled her legs closer, curling into herself for protection. The faint light outlined her trembling figure, a small, desperate silhouette surrounded by towering shadows. Though fear had taken hold of her, her violet eyes still burned with the will to fight. She knew she couldn't show weakness, not now, not in front of them. Her grip tightened around the sculpture as she whispered silently to herself, "I can't let them win."